Hey guys, my name's Nick. I am a co-founder at Dial Technologies, and today I have an exciting video for you guys. It's something that you have not heard. You're hearing it here first. A new feature, a new launch for Attio. And if you're a current Attio user, this is going to blow your mind. You need to essentially run and get this set up immediately for your team. And if you aren't already on Attio, this is probably going to make you think twice about that decision. Let's get into it. So my co-founder Will and I, we were having a conversation today, and we were in a Slack huddle, and he said, dude, you have to check this out. And he said, I was in the API docs and all of a sudden I just saw this, so I was like, okay, let's go check it out. So you go to the API docs, you're looking in here, core objects, very normal to be in here, but this is what I see. MCP in beta. What is this? Let's click on this. And then I said, oh my gosh, there's an official MCP server for Attio. I got to try this out. So before I jumped right in, I just went down and looked and said, oh, okay, records and objects. Let's look through all the capabilities, right? So records and objects, search records, get records by IDs. Okay, this all makes sense. List attribute definitions. We're very AI, native and API native, so we understand what these endpoints are. Look at notes. Okay, we can search notes. Okay, semantic search notes. Find notes by topic using AI semantic search. This is something that isn't directly capable in the AI or in the API, so this is something that's very interesting. We can go fetch notes, but we can't semantically search across the notes necessarily with the API directly. Tasks, we can create and update tasks. That's awesome. There's a new capability for recordings and meetings in terms of the API, but there's also this next thing here, which is wild, is emails, because there is no API endpoint for emails. So if you go to the REST API here and you look at core endpoints or standard objects, there's no email entity or API reference or endpoint yet. And so that's pretty wild. I'm definitely going to have to try that because, we can essentially search emails and get email content, and that's not available via the API today. We have workspace and there's some sample prompts here. So I looked through this. I was like, okay, we definitely got to try this out. So what I'm going to do today in the video is I'm essentially going to set this up and run through some scenarios. And so you've got the instructions here connecting to Claude Code or connecting to ChatGPT. You're going to copy this. And then what we're going to do is go over to Claude, We're going to go to our settings. In our settings, we're going to go to connectors. We're going to go and scroll all the way down and add custom connector, Attio MCP, paste that URL in. We'll just click add. This should redirect us to our browser once we hit configure or connect rather here on this MCP. All right, so now we have the Attio MCP set up. We can click on configure here, and this is going to allow you to set tool permissions. So I'm just going to go here and say always allow and read only, and then read and delete needs approval. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a new chat here and say, can you see the Attio MCP? Great, I can see the MCP server here. Now I'll say, what is the current deal pipeline value? One of the beauties of natural language is you can have a typo. It doesn't have to be exact. If it understands what you're trying to get across, then it's going to perform for you. Obviously, the more specific you are, the more context and kind of prompt engineering that you have, the better that it's going to, give a result or perform. So the total pipeline value is 22 million here. It's going to actually go take that a step further, and it's going to show us in each stage how many deals we have, what the value of those stages are, and then it's going to show us the top 5 deals by value. And it's asking if I want to break this down further by owner. So actually I'm going to say, if I look at Attio here, we've got a bunch of lost deals here, right? So the sum here is essentially 5 million. So I'm going to say, do we have any deals in the pipeline with customers that we previously had a deal with? This is some good insights. We have a lot of deals. We don't know what's what and what we have in the pipeline historically, to click here and This is only 25 deals, but you know, you can imagine this could be a lot more deals that we potentially lost and we don't want to necessarily go through. You know, you can click on the company and go and see if there's multiple deals there, but this is good. This is good. So it found 2 companies with multiple deals. So example company makes sense. Demo workspace probably created as an example. And then Strut Consulting, we can see we've got 1 lead and 1 in progress. Again, it's taking it a step further. It's giving us the value. It's giving us the ID. Some of these things are a bit harder to surface, but this is amazing. I'm going to just bring it back to the documentation here. And at the bottom, there are a couple of scenarios that we can take a look at. So like find all contacts at Stripe. What is the email for Namit? Show me everything about the swarm. Who's the decision maker at Notion? Find all contacts in the fintech space based in London. So this is a pretty cool one. Let's try this one. So for those of you that haven't used Claude, you can click on these steps and it will show you the request here and the response, and it breaks down essentially what it did in these steps, which is super helpful if you're just trying to, one, understand what's going on, or also debugging purposes. So it's searching fintech companies in London. It's finding associated contacts. It found this, you know, record in this person. They're going to get the contacts from the fintech company that they found. They found another one. So this is where some of that prompting, you know, could be helpful, because in theory, if this is like 1,000 companies that are in the fintech space and based in London, this could take a very long time. The max capacity. So fintech's company in London, we got Luno, Fireborn Technology. So here's the name, the title, the email of the people. It's even populating these URLs so we can click into a specific profile, which is great on LinkedIn. I'm going to try something here as well. So like Chris Swanson doesn't have a LinkedIn. So I'm just going to say update Chris Swanson with their LinkedIn. And I can actually come over here, Chris Swanson, no email address. And here's their LinkedIn that I just provided. So that's pretty sweet. Let's go take a look at some of the other items here. Log a note. So like this is a good one. I'm going to do this one. Log a note on Strut Consulting. Go back to my deals here. You can see we have Strut Consulting there. About my call this week. Here is the transcript. Testing a transcript. Can you populate a fake transcript for a demo? So now if we click into the company, Strut Consulting here, we'll see we've got 2 notes. Click on notes here. And this should go and create a new note and put in our transcript. So here's the note. If I click on this, call summary, discussion points, amazing. In this case, it's fake data, but again, this is a demo workspace. It's got follow-up date in here, highlighted with some formatting, bolds, headings. This is amazing. All right, and let's do one more here. So let's say, do I have any tasks in here? All right, so it looks like I have a bunch of overdue tasks. So I'm just gonna say Airbus Ventures 1. So there's an Airbus Ventures send first follow up here. And this is an automation based off of a workflow that we built in a previous video. You can go check that one out on our channel. Update a task, mark it as complete. You can get all the tasks and mark a complete. Kind of interesting that they don't have, they have like search records and get records by IDs, but they don't have that for tasks listed here, which is interesting. Maybe this is a bug. Let's see if we say create a task proposal. Okay, so it understands that we can create a task. So I'm going to say allow on that one. Create a task, Strut Consulting this week. I'm assuming this is the task loading in. Send a proposal to Strut Consulting, due tomorrow, and it's linked to Strut Consulting and it knows who I am. Amazing. We don't have any data in our test workspace for meetings, but it can look at the call recordings and get some of the transcripts as well as the call recording metadata, you know, logging meetings. And so there's lots and lots and lots of things to unpack here. One of the tests that I ran earlier, which unfortunately I can't show because it's in our actual workspace, is looking at all of the deals that are essentially in the lost category in our deal pipeline, and then go look at the transcripts and look at all of the emails and history that we have for those specific deals and companies, and essentially categorize and help us understand why we actually lost the deal. Was it to a competitor? Was it because the price was too high? Did they no-show the discovery meeting? Did we send them a proposal and we didn't follow up, or they didn't follow up? And so because all of this email data, as well as the transactional data in terms of the calendar invites, are getting pushed into Attio, we can actually use this MCP server to do some of this summary for us. And then to take that a step further, I said, go ahead and put it in a pie chart so I can see broken down by a specific label the lost deals. Were they 10% of our lost deals were because of no-shows, or 10% of our lost deals were because our price was too high? And then also, calculate the total number, but more importantly, like, what is the deal size and value that we essentially lost for these reasons? And then, again, because it's essentially an AI, in this case Claude, we can actually ask it to analyze some of this and give us some instructions on maybe what we can do. And so one of the suggestions was, when you send out a proposal, that follow-up process. So again, I alluded to it earlier, but we set up a workflow in Attio so that way when we have a follow-up or a last interaction, it'll essentially create a task for us to say, hey, go follow up with this person either 7 days or 14 days or 21 days after a certain status. So that way we never have those deals fall off in our pipeline. So super excited to see what the MCP server can do. Hopefully they continue to ship API endpoints and capabilities, as well as add those into the MCP. I'm going to be using this on a day-to-day basis. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave those down in the comments below. We're always open to hearing some feedback, or if you have questions, you need help, you can click a link in the description to book a call with us. And so yeah, just super excited. I had to jump on here and record this video once I found out that Attio had an official MCP server. So looking forward to see what you're creating. And as always, take care.